There's nobody watching.
Hopefully you'll listen to this one, Culture. Anyway, we've got the ratings for Doctor Who. We've got the ratings for the episode which released at the weekend, which was episode 7. And we've also got the episode ratings for last week's, which was the Gay Kiss one, the consolidated BBC iPlayer ratings, the ratings which some individuals have said we don't report on, but I am reporting on them because I report on all the ratings. They're not good at all. So the ratings for the weekend weren't particularly great. The consolidated ratings for last weekend were actually really much better. They spiked a little bit. So we'll take a look.
Hey,
so episode 6.
Are you going to pick up that Dalek costume there?
No. Oh. So episode 6 was the Gay Kiss one, Rogue. Only 2.11. And then it spiked up to 3.5. But you know what I find interesting about this is I was looking through all of this, right? There seems to be a consistent 1.4 million. It's consistently 1.4 or 1.5 million from the overnight to the +7 plus BBC iPlayer. It's 1.5, 1.4 million the whole time. I think that's quite interesting, really, don't you? Like, it's actually stayed consistently across the board.
So either you have a remarkably consistent audience.
I mean, you could. Honestly, you can.
Maybe your measurements aren't exact.
Yeah, it does seem odd. Like it's pretty consistent, actually, when you're looking at it. Like that's like it's unusually consistent, isn't it? You're looking at it, right? That is unusually consistent.
It's weird,
isn't it? I didn't clock it until today when I did my video on the Rogue +7 consolidated BBC iPlayer views. But it's still not managed to break 5 million this whole season, guys, either, by the way, in 7 days. So it's still really, really bad. It used to do 10 million, overnight. So, it's clearly not doing great, but whatever. But isn't that odd? Consistently 1.4 million. That is odd. Like even from the start. 2.6, 4. All right. 2.4, 3.9. 2.04, 3.58. Like actually consistent. 2.12, 3.38, 2.62, 4.
Yeah.
Like it's consistently 1.4 million.
So, wow. So
do you think it might be bots?
I think it might be something. This would concern me more is this level of consistency. If you are somebody working within this industry, how does that number not jump out at you? And and are there other shows on the BBC that use these same things, like the +7, +4 screens, stuff? And does it have the same built-in number? See, I'd look at everything else and see if that is the same in consistency. Because if it is, it suggests one thing, and if it isn't, this suggests something else entirely. Is the whole system artificially bumping numbers without actually recording them, or are they undercounting numbers because they're artificially making assumptions? Or is this the only show, or I guess in the UK call them series, is this the only series that's happening to? I mean, is this happening on, like, I don't know, do you guys get Bridgerton on television or on Netflix? How do you get?
Mate, I don't watch terrestrial TV, so I've got no idea. Well, I literally have no idea now. That's way I've got no idea these days. So. But it is odd, like that. It's a strange. It's oddly consistent. It's oddly consistent.
Well,
I mean, this one not so much, like 1.3, 1.2, right?
I see. Yeah, but I'm always see. When I look at that and I find those kinds of anomalies or consistencies or things like that, coincidences. Um,
There
you
are
know,
no coincidences, they say.
yeah. Well, I'm not necessarily going to always jump to conclusions, but I would want a bigger sample size to see if I could figure out um, if there's an inherent built-in number rather than actual counting going on. Wouldn't that be something if this was like an estimation by the BBC because they don't really have a way of tracking for all these
Uh,
entertainers?
well, I mean, I don't know how they track. This is the thing. So apparently they just they count anything as like you could be there for a couple of seconds and that's a view. So even if you get stuck on the channel before you're about to kind of switch off of it, apparently that's a view. But I don't know how they track their views. They've never revealed how they track their views, and that's the concerning thing. At least with Disney, they reveal supposedly how they track their views, right? Whether we believe them or not is a different thing, but at least they've revealed it. BBC hasn't done that, which is odd. So yeah, bit of an odd one. This. We've got some people dropping in to the super chats about this. So Chaos is fun. Super chat $3 over on Streamlabs. Joining in the conversation says, I haven't watched since Dr. Karen's Witch episode, but from what I can gather with this discount doctor is he's responsible for getting someone killed every episode and cries a lot. The power of many will get this sub 2 million, fingers crossed. I swear, yeah, there's only one more episode for it to go sub 2 million. And it will go sub 2 million, by the way, because there'll be people that will genuinely pay to watch this in a cinema. So, yeah, because they're showing the last episode in a cinema as well as on TV. So I'd imagine they will get sub 2 million, but it won't be accurate. Like, that's not the way, it's not true. It's not a true figure. So I don't know whether we can count it as sub 2 million, but still not great. Kalechi super chat $2 says most people seem to be doing a good job avoiding his chocolatiness. Ugh. The only people losing money on this is the BBC and Disney. Imagine paying for a TV license to watch this dog crap. Yeah, true, mate. That is true. Well, do you reckon it'll get below? Like, do you think it'll be a true sub 2 million, even though they're going to show some stuff in theaters?
I think there's a good chance that this will be below 2 million easily, and I do think there are people who are foolish enough to go see this in theaters. I would never. How can you? It takes a long time to get to theaters, right? I mean, like
round trip for me.
Yeah, for you, but I mean, for like a lot of people, I mean, theaters aren't necessarily down the street. So, are you really a show that you could watch that you pay a television license for? Are you really going to go down the street and like pay money to see it in a theater? That I don't know. I mean, there are very few products out there that I would, I would have gone to a theater to see.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I'd be grudge paying to see the bunch of films that I do see in theaters these days.
Right. Right. So I think that could actually help bring it under 2 million. Yes. And here's the thing: they could say in theaters this was so successful, or 1 million people saw it in theaters.
Yeah, that's true.
How much trust do you have for the BBC with the current accuracy?
Well, when it gets released in theaters, we have independent box office trackers actually, so we'll get a true indication.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting.
I just can't imagine. 100,000.
But I mean, it did go up, right? Like, the viewership did go up with episode 6, so that's good. It's not good viewership, but it did go up.
But
I wonder why that is, and this is the interesting thing, right? So apparently, this episode 4 was the episode without Fruity Gatwa,
right?
Episode 5 was the racist one, if I remember rightly. Episode 6 was the gay kiss one. And it spiked. Now, I wonder whether that's because all mainstream media outlets were hyping it up as history-breaking first gay kiss on Doctor Who, even though it's not the case anyway. But I wonder whether that's why it spiked, because people were like, "Oh, let me just go check it out." Then I wonder, like, if episode 7, the one which was released a couple of days ago now, I bet you that's going to bomb again. That's going to bomb hard. I reckon that'll be like what we got at 1 point. It's got to be like 1.3, isn't it? 1.3, 1.2, 1.3. What do you reckon?
Oh, 1.3.
Do you reckon 1.3?
Yeah.
All right. So I reckon 1.2, 1.3. We will have a look next week. But
Yeah.
there you go. I thought that was anything else to add to that?
No, again, I mean, the data suggests a trend downward, and then it all of a sudden it bucks the
Consistently
trend.
downward.
Yeah, and I just, and it's across the board. But whatever the recovery is, if it's that, let's say that number is legitimate, that makes up the gap or the difference. I still think 4 million is not something to be proud of, and you're consistently coming in below that. I just
they cancelled it for more. They cancelled it for more.
Yeah,
that's what you need to remember. They legitimately cancelled it for more. It's the worst viewership the series has ever had.
Well, okay, so during my videos, I was bringing up the history of Doctor Who viewership per episode, and I'm trying to remember the site. I don't think I have it handy anywhere, but I think it was on Doctor Who News. Maybe yes, it was. So, like, let's see, it came back in 05. So in 05, when it came back, it didn't have a giant start, but it started off good. It had 8 million people watching the show on average. Then it jumped up to, in 2009, it was only 3 episodes. Obviously, those are specials because of the way you guys do weird television junk there. But that was 10.7 hours, or excuse me, 10.7 million in those episodes. But I mean, there was a solid, steady average of 8 ish or near until 2014, when it started to go down. You had 7.3 million, then 6.1 million. It bounced up to 7.8 the following year. 2016 only had one episode, obviously a holiday special, I would imagine. It was 7.8, and then 2018 it was still 7.9, 7.1, and when you get to 2020, that's when everything hits the ground. 5.4, 5.1, 4.3. That was a holiday thing in 2022. Then 7.27 in 2023 with the 4 episodes that came out in 2023. And then in 2024, you're now averaging, with 7 episodes in, 3.5 million.
That's so bad, isn't it? So bad.
And look, numbers are a big deal, and especially in something like television, where but they're doing it with Disney money. So they have more money, but they're doing worse with it.
Yeah. They got the budget's never been bigger, but they're getting worse. Terrible views.
And you made a point today. You made a point today in one of the videos that I thought was genius. We don't know what the numbers are for Disney Plus. We don't. I think we started talking about this last week. I'm like, well, this is the week that should have been reported. This is the first week, right? You remember I was going over that on Thursday. And I'm like,
3 episodes as well, by the way. So it'll be all 3 episodes together. So
and I'm
like, been on there.
Where's the show? It's not on original. It's not on acquired. It's not on all of it.
Because no one's watching it. If it was, it would be on there.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. But remember, can't report on this stuff. We're just bigots, apparently. Stating facts.
Bigots with numbers.
Bigots with mathematics. All right.
Data.